Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday, January 11th, 2015 edition of Beyond the Gate Radio. This is our special 5th anniversary edition, and we have special guests on to help us celebrate it. This is our 5th year, and this is their 5th show they've been on with us. Terry and Linda Jamison, the world-famous Psychic Twins. I am your host, David Baker, and our co-host today is Sherelle. Good evening, Sherelle. How are you?
Good evening, David. Thank you. I'm doing fine. Let's get to the show.
I'm sure everybody's waiting. They have been for a whole year. And if you do like Beyond the Gate Radio, please press the follow button. We appreciate it. Now, a little bit about our guests. First of all, their website is www.psychictwins.com. That's psychictwins.com, and that's the only official Psychic Twins website. Settle for no others. That's the only real website, psychictwins.com. You can find out everything about them on their website. Terry and Linda Jamison, known internationally as the Psychic Twins, are the world's most documented psychic mediums in history, with an unrivaled track record of over 1,000 accurate world predictions. They are the most famous for the stunning predictions of the 9/11 World Trade Center terrorist attacks, the Pentagon attacks, and the May 2000 stock market crash, all made on Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM radio on November 2, 1999. With 25 years as professional psychic mediums, identical twins, Terry and Linda Jamison, internationally known as the Psychic Twins, have shocked audiences across the world with their eerily accurate predictions, including the events of 9/11, the Boston Marathon terror bombings, Corey Monteith's death by drug overdose, JFK Jr.'s death in a small plane, and also Oscar winners. They predicted monster hurricanes Sandy, Isaac, and Irene, the Newton, Connecticut, and Houston school shootings, the Denver, Colorado Dark Night Massacre, the record flooding of 2012 and 2014, and the deadly tornadoes of 2011 and 2013, as well as the massive earthquakes of 2010. The Psychic Twins are the authors of the world #1 bestseller, Psychic Intelligence by Hatchett, and their autobiography, Separated at Earth, the story of the Psychic Twins, which we've both read a few times because they're amazing books, and they describe their amazing life journey and how they developed their highly unusual work. The Psychic Twins are profiled in the new Hay House bestseller, Conversations with Mediums, so make sure you get that book. We've read that too, and that's very interesting. Terry and Linda have made hundreds of appearances on international TV and radio, including ABC, Nightline, Beyond Belief, The View, Good Morning America, Oprah, The Tyra Show, The Ricky Lake Show, The Insider, The Unexplained, Dr. Keith Abloh, The Other Side from NBC, Saturday Night Live, The Today Show, and Sunrise Australia. They have also starred in 16 documentary films, including Psychic Children, Extreme Twins, True Believers, and Hollywood Ghost Stories. How exciting to have them back on again. And now, without further ado, they promise to see us in the future, and they haven't lied. This is the future, and they're back. Welcome, Terry and Linda Jamison.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, David and Sherelle. So happy to be back on the show. Happy anniversary. Happy 5th. So proud of you guys. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Can you believe 5
Thank
years
you.
already? We've all
Can't
been doing
believe it.
It's really,
Amazing.
it's wonderful. Yeah.
Wow.
We miss you guys.
When did we get so old?
It's wisdom.
Thank you.
You know,
That's a nice way of putting it.
I could have retired from this some time ago, but now it's too late to retire, so I have to keep on
That's
going.
right. I like that.
I
I'll
like
never
that.
retire.
I like that. Yeah.
Listen, our dad's 89, and he's still working. He's still painting his watercolors, and can you believe it? Almost 90, he's going strong, and I
Just
hope.
got engaged a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we're hoping to emulate that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. That is so
Well,
awesome.
you guys, thank you. We see a whole new level of intrigue and drama coming for 2015.
Oh, my goodness.
David and Sherelle and all of our wonderful listeners.
We have exciting things to talk about. My goodness, we predicted on last year's show in 2014 that it would be the year of truth revealed, and boy, was it ever!
Oh, brother,
we're still reeling, trying to make sense of the chaos that year was. And as you know, Terry and I have been attacked for exposing some pretty inconvenient truths, but truths they are, none the same. This past few years has been such a difficult time for Terry and me personally. We had to take out a restraining order against our spirit guides.
Yes.
So it's
Oh,
not
my
that
goodness.
bad.
It wasn't
goodness.
that bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a real year of extremes and scandals, just that we said on your show. And David, you know that we already made predictions for 2015 on your show last year, which aired 1/6/14. That was our record show. We had 800 predictions that happened just in the last year since we made that show with you. And so these are going to be sort of in addition to that show, because that is still up on YouTube. It's still up on Blog Talk and your page. And so these are kind of like in addition to
bonus predictions for the coming year.
Right.
Through 2016, actually.
And we're also doing another show with Matthew Engel, and that airs January 15th. We already taped it on the 7th, and many of those predictions that we taped on the 7th have already happened. So you'll want to tune in to Intuitive Transformations on the 15th with Matthew.
Check our Facebook page for links and to that show, to that podcast. So we're seeing, more extremes coming in 2015. You guys, going to be a dramatic year on many fronts. We're calling 2015 the year of empowerment. The year of empowerment.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, it's going to be a very empowering, passionate, dramatic year on many fronts. Like the last year, resilience is going to be very important, you guys. Everything really must break down, we feel, in order for a rebirth to occur. And, the new cycle will be one of women and people of color and oppressed groups and races stepping into a new place of empowerment, as we have seen in the last year. Unifying towards change. We see more demonstrating and peaceful demonstration, speaking out, really women and people of color in unprecedented numbers coming out. Now, the terrible series of terror attacks that happened in France this week, we predicted on your show, you guys, last January. And 20 people were killed, and today they had 3.7 million people rallying in all across France, but mostly in Paris, and that's unprecedented. It's never happened before. This is an anti-terror rally, a unity rally.
March for Unity in Paris. I don't know if you saw that. It was absolutely breathrathing.
Wasn't it amazing?
And unparalleled in France, in Paris, and where they have had many big rallies, but this was unquestionably the most amazing, and all the 43 world leaders arm in arm against terrorism, taking back their power. it was just so emotional to watch, and I really feel it was a turning point for France and the entire world. This is the greatest terror threat Europe has ever faced in history. And we've been saying it, isn't it? I mean, we've been saying for a couple of years on your show that that extremist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda would be increasing in power and reach. It was not, by no means was it on the run, was it going away, in spite of the narrative we kept hearing on TV. And we were like, no, it's going to get much worse. And, of course, we've seen the results of that. And now I think everyone is sort of shocked into this awareness that things really have to change. There's no real policy for dealing with radical Islamism in the world.
Yeah, and do you realize that, what, Cheryl?
I was just going to say, do you think sometimes that the TV says it to keep the people calm? Like if they saw the UFO, they try to debunk it so everyone stays calm, so it's not mass hysteria?
I'm not really sure to what extent. That could very well be, but I feel like it's more controlling the narrative and what they want you to believe. And that's why we do our predictions, because the CIA and the FBI missed every major terror attack that we predicted in the new millennium. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like they're blowing it. The media, the government, the media, they're all, working together to protect their own agenda. And
very well said.
That's
why everybody sort of comfortably numb, not really knowing the truth. And you've heard us talk about this many times on your shows and others. And I really think this is a time when they can no longer afford to ignore the signs. They can no longer, pretend this isn't happening and keep calling it a minor threat, a JV team. We really have to get real. We're seeing new intelligence sharing in ways that never happened before. Communities, governments sharing intelligence. Is going to be more of an outreach between communities and government leaders to strengthen protections. I think now they have no choice. It's getting worse. And it's kind of interesting to see how this whole terror attack by, the Al-Qaeda brothers that were connected with Yemen, and they violently killed 17 people in that Charlie Hebdo attack in Paris.
There were actually 3 different terror attacks in Paris this week.
Right, a whole series of attacks over several days, and I really think that it needed to happen. It sparked something in the French. They were sort of walking around in a sleep, and now it's sort of galvanizing people. I don't know what else it would have taken, but that is exactly what it probably took for people to wake up and say, holy cow, we have to do something about this, and get an agenda together, a plan, a strategy together. And I think that's what's going to happen. I really feel there is meaning in tragedy, and both of us have mentioned this before. Tragedy awakens our need for greater action and responsibility. And that's the silver lining. It's awakening people to practice more outreach, cooperation, love, harmony, forgiveness, compassion. There's a reason this is happening, and I think on Matthew Engel's show we talked at length about why is the Middle East so prone to conflict over so many years, and we went into some detail about how we feel that the Middle East countries represent a certain wounded child archetype. Carl Jung talked about the wounded child that represented the energy of people that had not known kindness or compassion in their lives, the warring factions that are so long a part of that culture for centuries. That's just perpetuating, that cycle of the wounded child, because it's almost like an ancient or tribal pattern or role that we've inherited, and globally we share this. on many levels, but the Middle East really represents that archetype. And I think it's hard to just, in a nutshell, talk about such a thing, but that's part of why we see this terror threat again and again, and now it's growing. And I think it's really helping people to become more aware of what we need to do next collectively to alter the future.
We have to recognize that, we are not our wounds or experiences, and we have to refuse to be defined by tragedy as we see more and more of these terror attacks happening in our country, in Europe, in Australia, in Canada. We're seeing, more and more of this, and it could take, decades, if not centuries, hundreds of years to overcome these hate groups. But our value as human beings is beyond reckoning, and the wounded part is not who you really are. So we have to really see that we're all connected, David and Sherelle. And
that is true.
Yeah, it has to be really faith is the key, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I believe that, the next year is not going to be world peace and everybody is happy and holding hands, and then that's it. Because if that's it, there'd be nothing else, no other purpose to live, and then everything would cease. I think that even though there won't be complete world peace in our lifetime, these things keep happening to cause us to wake up, like you said, to learn and to evolve and to strive for better. And I think that's why these things keep happening. And just waking up more people to come together. So what you said is totally true.
Absolutely.
Good.
I'm glad that you agree. We are seeing more with the economy, you guys. We're seeing continued growth in 2015. It may be very slow, but we are seeing growth as we saw last year. A chaotic couple of years coming. Get ready for another roller coaster ride. Volatile stocks, more corporate and government corruption will be exposed.
We're seeing unemployment likely falling a little bit in 2015. Many of those are part-time jobs, but at least it's employment. Hey, and job sectors that will be hot in 2015, we're seeing as being health care, nursing. There's a huge demand for that now. Social work. We're also seeing engineering, any kind of engineering practically, but especially IT and technology jobs, like cybersecurity for corporations, for example, small companies.
I hear Sony's hiring.
No, you think?
Sony's hiring for cybersecurity, yeah.
Software, I really think software, data, marketing fields, very big in the coming 2 years. And I did see leisure and hospitality, like restaurants, hotel positions, this sort of thing booming in the next couple of years as the economy grows. So, we're feeling optimistic about jobs coming back to the U.S. If you wait for the government to solve your problems, though, you guys, you're going to be waiting a very long time. So start your own business in 2015. Get creative, get innovative.
Be self-starting and motivated.
And just take some action. People are so afraid of taking action, and, they're kind of buying into the mass fear that, jobs are unavailable. But the fact is, if you create, just look at your own skills and start brainstorming about what you can do on your own. That could be very, very lucrative in the end for you. But it depends on, you need a plan. Now, we're seeing a currency crisis over the next few years, as we've been saying. We're really seeing a lot of problems with currency and stock market worldwide. Stock market volatility, I think Terry might have mentioned, is going to continue, wild swings, and a possible correction sometime by the end of the year.
America's going to save tens of billions of dollars in gas this year, I think, because, gas has really been low. We're producing so much fuel now. I really think we're going to save a lot of money in gas.
Well, that's a plus.
We're seeing a lot of breakthroughs in,
for people that have to travel for their jobs. And also manufacturing jobs, I meant to say, are improving in the next year or so. globally, I feel, but U.S. Too. And there's going to be exciting innovation in inventions and robotic and medical technology, drone technology, really some cool futuristic stuff. The science fiction of the past is now becoming a reality, and that's kind of fun stuff we're going to be seeing. So it's really starting to feel like we're in the future, isn't it?
May I ask quickly about the commodities markets like gold and silver? Usually when stocks don't do good, gold and silver goes opposite.
Gold, usually if stocks are down, gold is up. And that's because it's a safe haven. We're going to see more of that. Stocks, when they're down, gold will be up. But, we saw gold drop significantly last year. I wouldn't put more than maybe 9 or 10% of your portfolio in gold. But with Obamacare, we're seeing it's still going to be difficult, I think.
Millions of people lost their coverage, as we predicted. We were two of them. And that was one of the unintended consequences of Obamacare. We're seeing more lawsuits being filed against the administration for that plan, and numerous have already been filed. I think like 23 lawsuits have been filed.
I think 25 states are suing the government.
Yeah, we're happy that more people are able to get care, but many also did lose the care they had, which was unfortunate. But moving on to something more positive, we're seeing actually some positive things coming out of the racial strife that happened in Ferguson and the protests and riots that happened nationwide. We predicted this on your show last year, and the violence in Missouri last year, this did happen, and we're seeing some positive things coming out of it, like new policies and retraining of police so that they're more effective and less knee-jerk with their violent reactions. We do see criminal justice reform in 2015 and 2016. All lives matter, and we need more connection and more really honest conversations about race relations, and it's starting to happen. The ball is rolling. I think the Ferguson violence, if there's a silver lining, it elevated this conversation about race to the national level, and that had to happen for anything to move forward. So that debate about race and injustice we're seeing continuing, and I think it's going to have some very positive things come out of it, out of these controversies about racial injustice.
And also the immigration bill that President Obama signed into law, we predicted that on your show too. Do you remember that, you guys?
Yes, sure do.
Yes. There is a technical term for the immigration thing right now. It's called a mess. But
I like that.
It is kind of a mess right now.
Yes.
But we may see a comprehensive immigration bill eventually. I'm not saying it's going to be in the next year or two, but it could happen.
The immigration subject is such an emotional and intense conversation, isn't it, you guys? But we have to talk about it. Again, it's another thing that we've been not talking about, and it's that elephant in the room that's been just getting more and more problematic. We're seeing some very constructive things happening because Obama forced the GOP's hand in this case, and we don't take sides. We're pretty much neutral and independent, but we do feel there's another silver lining. It forced their hand. Maybe we'll actually see some movement in Congress this year. What else?
I hope so.
Yeah, wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and just have this attitude. I choose to hold a vibration of peace in any situation for the world. I will be at peace regardless of the chaos surrounding me. That's a good affirmation for those who are very, very scared and feel paralyzed by all this, the controversy and violence and the growing problems with immigration and with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. That's a good affirmation. Just really spiritual peace is the only real peace. It's the only real security we can have, and nobody can take that from us. So really focus on what we're grateful for right now, your family, your health, your children, your dear friends, your talented friends and radio show hosts, and abilities that we all have, and maybe they're latent, maybe they're dormant, but this is the year to carve out time to develop those passions and hobbies we've always wanted to focus on, and resist, the temptation or the impulse to be consumed by fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always a deeper reason that this difficulty, this calamity is happening.
Well, 2015 is, numerologically speaking, is an 8 universal year, and that really translates into prosperity and abundance. 8, the number 8, is a very powerful symbolic number in Buddhism as well. We've been Buddhists for 30 years.
Yeah, it's an abundance number, right, Terry?
Very much so. Yeah.
And so 2015 feels like more abundance and prosperity coming for people, if the ones that take action, that is.
Yeah, so focus on what you want, guys. Focus on doing what makes you happy, on what you enjoy. Focus on the things that you want to bring into your life,
Absolutely.
Not blaming other people or, tearing other psychics down. And, we've had this happen recently with colleagues. And I think we have to unify, even with our colleagues, in no matter what field we're in. Focus on really creating value within your own life and
supporting others, and just really reaching out and trying to have an understanding of the other, of other people that you may not completely agree with their approach or what their beliefs, but try to have some kind of compassion and understanding for why they do what they do. I think that'll really increase a peaceful society right here where we are. Start right where you are.
So let's talk
election
about
2016.
The election of 2016 briefly.
Okay. Well, we see that, Hillary will likely announce in the spring that she will be running for president. Again, we see her distancing herself from Obama. If she does decide to run, you guys, Clinton will be the overwhelming front runner for the nomination. Nobody else is going to be able to touch her. If Elizabeth Warren runs, also, I think that's not a negative, that's a positive, because I think she's going to force Clinton to articulate how she would help the middle class with the economic issues that they face. And that hasn't really happened. We haven't really seen a clear policy. Right. So I think, we'll see maybe Hillary Clinton committing to the kinds of policies that will be desirable to many voters, including some independents and even moderate Republicans who are struggling right now in the current economy. And I think that it's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be quite a fascinating and ugly race. Probably it's going to really get down. And you think that worldwide wrestling is bad. I think it's going to get worse than that.
And not to mention the most expensive, right? The most expensive political presidential race in history. Hello.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's going to be interesting to have a female in office.
What, Cheryl?
Yes. I was going to say, did you see Jeb putting in his bid? Jeb Bush?
Wow.
I felt that he would. I think he will
probably throw his hat in the ring. It seems like everybody and his mother is throwing their hat in the ring now.
Well, especially the Clintons and the Bushes, they're dynasties. It's like dynasty without the shoulder pads. Well, maybe there were some bad shoulder pads. Hillary wore some pretty bad shoulder pads.
Maybe they'll even beat each other up by the pool.
Oh, my goodness. That would be great. John Forsythe.
Okay. Lord have mercy.
But I think that we're going to see, violence against women will be an increasing, topic that Hillary may bring up too as we move toward the 2016 election. I think this whole thing about rape culture and rape victims not feeling safe to report to the police even when they've been raped. It's been going on as long as we've been alive. It's just this ridiculous culture of suppression and silence and shutting women up. I think women will be, speaking out more about this, and I look forward to that, don't you? I mean, women need to have more of a voice, and I think having a female president would really help give women more rights and more of a voice. They really are, strong, getting strong. Women are strengthening in spirit and numbers, and I'm excited about what the next few years hold for women and CEOs, more doors opening up for women in corporate and film directors and name it. I think, even they're making superhero films about women now. And sports are starting to, NBA I think has its first assistant female coach. So that's all exciting stuff. I want to see more of that happening. And embracing the divine feminine. Go ahead, Terry.
Right. We see, again, more than the usual number of government and political scandals involving high-ranking officials in the U.S., Canada, and Europe, even Australia. We had predicted the Petraeus thing. Now he's in the news again because he might be indicted for spilling government secrets. So look for more of that. Linda's going to have to get her Petraeus cartoon now.
I'll have to dig that up. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I love making fun of famous generals, 4-star generals. One of my hobbies. We see attacks on media, military, and civilians coming up, and government. More and more. It feels like terrorism is, terrorism, lone wolf terrorism, self-radicalized, ISIS, Al-Qaeda inspired, and some of them pretty coordinated attacks, I dare say. They're very sophisticated attacks. We're seeing low-level attacks by lone wolves like the Boston Marathon bombing and the Charlie Hebdo attacks in Paris. We're seeing more of that.
The Charlie Hebdo attacks in Paris was really a military attack.
Yes,
it was not a lone wolf. As we see, it was coordinated. It activated the France terror cell. And we are now really warning people to be on the lookout here and all over Europe. And the UK, we said on Matthew's show on the 7th, we predicted that there would be attacks in the UK on transport systems. Same goes for Europe and the U.S. So, you might see JFK as a target. For some reason, New York is coming, and New York and D.C. are always like the primary targets, of course, but we are seeing that it might be New York before anything else.
New York City, and we're seeing an active plot now actually going on for New York City and Washington, D.C. And there's something with jihadist links. We're not totally sure. There's something even as soon as, February or March, somewhere on the northeast, and mass shooting on a military base or school. It feels like by the spring. That's being plotted now. 2 airport plots in progress. Please be careful flying. JFK Airport again being targeted in a very it feels a very involved, convoluted plot. So be very careful flying, very prayerful flying. We're also seeing something which we haven't seen before. We're seeing plots on
energy grid.
Energy grid, yes, thanks, Terry. The energy grid and
electric grid,
right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty interesting. That's actually cyber attacks. We're going to get to that in a second. But I was seeing more things in Melbourne, Australia. There are plots on Australia which are not typical there. And so we're seeing jihadist plots that might be taking place there. Some thwarted, not all of them. We're also seeing Canada. We're vibing on Toronto. We're vibing on
Ontario.
On actually Toronto and what is the other big city
Quebec?
there? No. Montreal, thank you. It starts with an M. Montreal, there are some plots that are active. We're seeing cells being activated up there, terror cells. Hate to bring bad news, but you guys need to be more on the defense up there in Canada.
Defense. I agree.
On the defense, yes, because, I mean, better plans because they're sort of coasting for a while, but now it's Al-Qaeda, ISIS extending their reach. There's going to be more self-radicalized people coming back from training over there in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, and coming back here and even to Europe with some pretty serious terror plots. We're seeing increasing cyber attacks.
Wait, before you do that,
okay,
I wanted to specify specific cities and states that we're seeing for terror plots. Whether or not they happen, we'll be prayerful because we can change things.
Yes, we can.
But we are seeing Arizona, Washington State, Texas, Michigan, Oregon, Washington, D.C., New York, particularly JFK, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Colorado, and Georgia, all being targets, Chicago, Illinois, Ohio, Oregon, and the Carolinas. North Carolina comes in, and Florida even.
Yeah.
California. But, these are all, where we're seeing the most likely. And, of course, that can change, and with prayer, they can be thwarted.
Yeah, Ohio, too, Terry, I was vibing on, and I don't think we mentioned that last time.
Right.
Or maybe we did. Oh, no, sorry, I think we did. But we're seeing just sort of random things, and people are always writing us so frantic. And should I pull my kid out of school because he goes to a Jewish school in San Francisco? I feel like, the first thing you should do is meditate for the right action to take. Because you have the answers within yourself. You have what it takes, that psychic intelligence. You just need to tune in and feel the energy for yourself. Because I think the conversation can get very heated and kind of panicky especially around these large-scale attacks we're seeing internationally. But really tune in, because a lot of times I think it's going to be fine for your kid to go to that school or whatnot. Tune in. If you feel the need, reach out, talk to an intuitive who might be able to help you tune in. But I think that we all have that ability to really exercise our own power. And then I think as we take more responsibility, remember it's the year of empowerment, to empower yourselves, to trust yourself that you will be able to tap into the right action. Am I feeling weird about going on this trip to Europe? Is this the right time to go to Europe? And this is a question we get a lot from our clients. Usually they'll get sort of a funny feeling, and then we'll sort of verify it, and they'll say, oh, thank you, I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure. Trust your own psychic intelligence.
Right.
Yes.
Because it's usually right.
Yes.
It's usually right. And don't be psychic stupid. We always say that. Don't be psychic stupid.
Now, I wanted to mention the places in other countries that we see possibly in high danger. Germany, Spain. For some reason, we're getting Barcelona. Never said that before, starting to get it. UK, England, not so much Scotland. I'm seeing the UK, London area. France, definitely. We're going to see more in France.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And again, we predicted that, a year ago.
Yeah, Spain, other areas of Spain and Italy, too, are targets.
We're seeing Japan, Syria, Iran, Yemen, Iraq, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Africa.
India.
And India and Russia as well, Egypt, and possibly Indonesia or the Philippines. There's a target there.
Yeah. And we're seeing a couple of aviation tragedies, not necessarily in Indonesia or Malaysia, but there are two very big explosive tragedies having to do with big jets. At least one will be terror-related, you guys, so be careful. Really look sharp when you're traveling. We're seeing something that is involving mass casualties. I guess we should move on to, did we talk about cyber attacks yet? Okay, just want to get everything in.
No, not yet. Okay.
Thanks for your patience, you guys.
This has been great. It's important to get the information out there. It's very important. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you said that, Sherelle, because we, predictions is our thing, and we believe in the importance of making predictions known. There are a lot of people that do predictions just for fun. That's great, but we don't consider it like a parlor game. It's dead serious, and it can be life or death, as you know. And we take this very seriously. We defend our right to make world predictions to all those haters out there that you know who you are.
It's sacrosanct work we do.
It's sacrosanct.
And the principalities of darkness have suppressed spiritual and esoteric knowledge and abilities for thousands of years. And knowledge is power, everyone. Knowledge is power.
Yes.
And the last thing that the hierarchy and the media wants is a population that's informed and powerful and empowered. Year of empowerment. Mm-hmm. So we're here to tell you. So this is what's coming up.
In 2014, we saw the worst cyber attacks in history. We predicted those on your show a year ago. In 2014, we've seen more widespread and damaging computer system breaches than any time in history, and we predicted those.
Oh, my goodness.
Increasing massive cyber attacks and espionage on banking and finance, government and information systems, computer networks, telecommunications in the U.S. by China, Russia, and North Korea, possibly Iran. Now, North Korea usually works in tandem with China on these cyber attacks.
Yes.
So
I agree with
if we can somehow shut down North Korea's internet, all three people in North Korea who have it, we're ahead of the game.
There will be an increase in very dangerous computer viruses and cyber attacks. This internet is crazy. I mean, it's getting like the wild, wild west, and we're seeing major corporations again, like Sony and Target attacks that we saw. There were so many I can't even list. Home Depot. We predicted those last year, and we believe that Sony was the biggest, most damaging cyber hack of all time. Literally, their computers were wiped clean, and we had at Christmas dinner with a guy that's a big executive at Sony, and he said they were just sitting there twiddling their thumbs for weeks because they had no computer. They had to use
pencil and paper.
Pencil and paper. They didn't
even have
iPhone
still using
access.
Pencil and paper.
It was crazy.
At Sony.
And he said it was crippling to the company. And we said, well, guess what? There's going to be more of that kind of thing on companies like Sony, and more Sony-style attacks targeting the film studios, TV networks, news media, the music industry as well.
Yeah, it's not going to just be Sony. It'll be other studios that are at least targeted.
So there needs to be so much more done. There aren't enough protections in place. And when these things are targeted, they're disrupted for weeks or months. It's not just out for a day or two. And this country isn't prepared. I don't know what's going on, but we're not doing enough to guard against a massive attack, even on the energy grid and government systems, water and power systems.
We're actually seeing massive crippling cyber attacks on critical U.S. infrastructure and energy grids by China and Russia, including power plants, electric grids, energy grids, water and power systems, government information systems, defense systems,
air traffic control, subways.
water and power, government, I already said that, air traffic control.
Yeah, I mean, there's something by summer, right, Terry? We're seeing something by June or July of 2015.
Yeah, maybe even sooner.
It's a plot for that time. It could be, sort of pushed up, but they're saying, the guides are saying, Homeland Security needs to revamp and step up their game because we're particularly seeing a plot on the northeast U.S. We keep getting a strong hit on northeast around New York City and neighboring states, affecting multiple states by June, July of this year.
Possibly Chicago as well.
Yeah, it's a war. It's a war. It's a cyber war. This is a digital war. Make no mistake about it. Cyber attacks are a digital war, and there is an army of cyber warriors working on invading these major information systems as we speak. And they are raised from childhood in schools in these foreign countries to literally, that's what their job is, to disrupt and dismantle critical infrastructure. And we're seeing, the time is to wake up. The time is now. Activate change.
Empower yourself.
Empower yourself. Get security products that discover and remediate attacks that escape detection by sandbox tools. Sony had a very sloppy security, and businesses must make security a top priority every day. Now watch, Sony's going to sue us for that.
It's incredibly easy to do this kind of cyber attack.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But imagine how much easier when you've got 1,000 people working at their little cubicles just to attack certain companies that we work with.
It's a new kind of warfare.
It's a new kind
of warfare.
It
is. That's right, David. Digital warfare.
It's funny.
Cyber warfare.
I just have to say this briefly that, we've gotten a lot of things from Star Trek movies and TV series, and I won't go into detail, but there was one Star Trek episode where these two planets were having war, but they no longer used weapons. They used computers to target people, and they say, okay, our computer targeted this city and killed the people, so everybody would have to go to the death chamber, from the planet that was struck by the computer target, and they'd have to voluntarily go in there to die, and that's how they would have their wars. Captain Kirk said, you know what, this is going to continue until everybody's gone. So they destroyed their computer systems. Now both planets say now we have to fire actual weapons to kill each other. And the reason they did that, once they realized that they'd really have to do it, that would make them come to the peace table sooner than to continue with the cyber war by killing people. I don't know if you remember that episode, but I thought that was intriguing. That's
we're not really Trekkies.
I didn't see that episode, but that sounds like something I should look up.
That sounds like they were predicting something, right? Precognitive kind of TV show.
Oh, yeah. It does sound that. Yep.
Resistance
and the Terminator was on the day on top of that.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry,
go
ahead
what
with
did
your
you
predictions,
say,
because
I said, and on top of that, the Terminator was on the day.
Was it?
Oh, how funny.
Yes.
Yeah, it's getting to be more real than people ever thought.
It is.
Hey, it beats the heck out of the Golden Globes. That's what I say. But but the medical advances, we wanted to say that we are actually going to be publishing our medical breakthroughs in addition to what we already predicted last year on your show for 2015. We're going to be doing a newsletter listing them. So in the interest of time, I just wanted to touch upon some of the bigger breakthroughs that we're seeing in terms of medical advances and breakthroughs and highlights. The Ebola infectious disease vaccine, we did predict the West Africa Ebola outbreak, which was the worst in history, as you know.
Some years ago.
And the first to cross national borders and export cases from Africa to the U.S. and Europe. We never really saw it being huge in the U.S., so don't panic if somebody gets it. I think that we're going to be able to control it.
That's media hype.
We do see a growing emergence of epidemics and infectious diseases globally. We see more global cooperation and sharing of resources regarding epidemics and more effective vaccines to prevent and treat them, including Ebola. And the fear is more viral than the actual virus itself. But it looks like they're also getting it in hand in Africa. We see more clusters in some places rather than a widespread threat in the U.S. We're seeing breakthroughs in fertility treatments to help people conceive. In the next couple of years, we're seeing breast cancer breakthroughs, and really breakthroughs in all types of cancer: breast cancer, lung cancer, leukemia. We're seeing breakthroughs in stem cells and many more advancements using stem cells in various diseases, breakthroughs in Parkinson's disease and prostate diseases, weight loss, obesity, eating disorders, depression and mental illness, breakthroughs in diabetes, and a big one that we've been seeing a lot of breakthroughs with that we predicted are the AIDS and HIV treatments. And people are saying, when's it going to be cured? Well, the cure already exists. It's being suppressed because of money, and the drug companies are making a lot of money off of drugs, as you know.
FDA controls it.
So people don't send us hate mail about the medications, because we don't endorse any medications, but many people their lives are saved by medications. We're seeing breakthroughs in Alzheimer's and breakthroughs in post-traumatic stress disorders. So
neuroscience and the brain chemistry, brain intelligence.
Right. Those are just like the main ones that we're seeing. There are going to be many more in our newsletter coming in the next couple of weeks. So look out for that. It's the Future Scope, and sign up for that on our website. It's free at psychictwins.com. And by the way, we have a new book coming out, but we can't really give you the title or anything. It's sort of top secret, but we do plan on publishing this year, you guys, our third book. And
congratulations!
Kind of excited. Thank you. Yeah, and I know you have one coming out. Don't you have a book coming out, David?
Yes, I do. It's my second book, which just needs to get some editing done. Then we'll get ready to publish, and I've already started on my third book. So we'll see what happens.
Oh,
How
yeah,
exciting.
Good. You got to set your date and get that out there. So we'll be looking for that, and yeah.
You're going to be in my second. You are in my second book, so.
Oh, thank you,
Bless
David.
your heart. And we wrote the foreword, so I can't wait for that to come out.
We're excited.
But, back to our predictions, we just wanted to say we see extreme weather and natural disasters coming up in the next couple of years.
Yes.
And, Linda, you wanted to just touch upon earthquakes and so on.
Oh, okay. We're seeing the severe storms, frigid cold, above average snow, crazy weather fluctuations, as we have been in the past year or so. Even more extreme weather globally, everyone. So we're seeing massive storms, typhoons, hurricanes, flooding. It's not going to be easy weather-wise. 2015 and 2016 are going to be pretty crazy. So just make sure that you're prepared, well prepared for the weather coming. It's not going to be easy, breezy, and there's nothing easy about it. I think that you're also going to see more seismic events coming. We were seeing an increase in smaller quakes due to fracking all the way across the U.S. in states that never had earthquakes. They're usually not above a 4-point magnitude, but we are seeing that getting a little more common because of all the fracking that's going on.
Yes, the west coast of California. We did predict the Napa quake that happened last year in you guys' area. You lived through that. That was quite a shaker.
Yes.
Wow. We saw the wine bottles on the floor broken. And
not in David's house.
Not in David's house. No, it wasn't in your house, you guys.
Thank goodness.
Everybody's going to think you're a drunk.
No, we didn't see all the broken wine bottles in your house on the news, but
there's
all
over the floor.
What did you have on the floor?
Pillows to save the wine.
Pillows. Oh, you had pillows on the floor.
Oh, well, that's great. That's a great way to to combat that. We're seeing earthquakes being still more likely in the LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Northern California area in the next year or so. So prepare now. We've said it many times.
We have had a couple of big shakers this past year, and it's so scary that
more than
I just
usual.
want to leave because we're so overdue for the big one. It's not even funny, and it really get prepared now, you guys, because you just never know when exactly that huge one that they keep predicting is going to happen. But we're seeing moderate to large earthquakes coming
all
in
up
coming
and down
years.
The Pacific Coast, in northwest as well.
Significant seismic events also occurring in California, Alaska, Mexico,
Pacific Rim,
Italy, Brazil, Chile, New Zealand, China, Japan, Indonesia, Turkey, and other areas on the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire, it's so easy to say, the Ring of Fire, because that's where most of the earthquakes happen, but we give specific countries.
Mm-hmm. Mexico, by the way,
where we see the biggest ones happening. So we try to be specific.
Mm-hmm. China's going to have a big one, and I think Japan.
So China and Japan, yeah.
You saw that too.
Yeah.
We're seeing increasing droughts this year, heat waves, fires, droughts, especially in the West, and flooding, Gulf states. We're seeing a similar pattern to last year, hurricanes being pretty strong. There's activity, quite active hurricane season coming up. In many states. I'm trying to rush it because I know we only have a few minutes.
Fires happen all year, in California, so we usually don't predict the big fires, but, there will be a big fire season.
A lot of destruction, and
now, in terms of tornadoes, there will be some killer twisters affecting states in the U.S., of course, the Tornado Alley, but also in other states, not just Tornado Alley, not just the Midwestern states. Violent storms and megastorms coming in coming years. The Midwest and South, southern states, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Mississippi, and Alabama are targets.
Yeah, and happening in places that normally don't get tornadoes, which we predicted last year, and it actually did happen in a lot of states. That don't normally get them, and at times of year that are not really tornado season. So we wanted to talk a little bit about celebrity predictions in the remaining minutes.
Do we have time, David?
Sure.
Do we have time for celebrities?
Yes,
just
go right
a couple
ahead.
minutes. Okay.
We'll talk fast.
Well,
it's okay.
With this,
you could talk
okay.
Continue talking, and we'll keep talking till the show clicks off. We don't mind.
Oh, okay. And you get clicked off. They automatically cut us off. All right. Well, so we'll try to do this fast. Bill Cosby. We said that 2014 was the year of the truth revealed and scandal, the year of scandal, and sure enough, this is opening up the biggest can of worms that we have seen in our lifetime. And we grew up with Bill Cosby. We really liked him growing up. This is really opening up an honest conversation for the first time about abuse and power and the media cover-up that is in operation. I mean, the media turned a major blind eye on this, and the media is in effect accomplices to this series of alleged crimes that 30 plus women are coming out and saying that they were drugged and raped by Bill Cosby. This is just crazy. I mean, we feel that this has got to be addressed. It's like the priesthood abuse, the pedophilia in the film and TV and music industry,
and the campus and the campuses.
The campus rape culture. We have to have the difficult, awkward conversations about this subject and campus rape to inspire more awareness. Again, not enough people are coming out, and too long this has gone on. Even the person that wrote the Bill Cosby biography said he knew all about these scandals 10 years ago, and he didn't include any of it in his biography of Bill Cosby.
And he should have.
And he apologized later. But I think that's a crime, and I think that we're going to see a lot more of this cover-up stuff, more pedophilia and cases like that coming out about the film and TV and music industries, probably be buried because they have a lot of money and they can pay people off. But this is going to become much more in the headlines, this kind of case. And I would love to see new laws and new sanctions and people stepping up and saying, are standing arm in arm like they did in Paris and France today, saying, this has to stop. We're standing in solidarity with those who have been abused, with those who are in fear and terrorized. We can't take this any longer.
We really must believe the women, and
yes.
We shouldn't have to wait for 30 women to come forward. I believe one woman, and I want everyone to really believe women when they say that these things have happened, because it's very hard to come forward with a story like that.
Oh, it's so hard.
And back in the day, in the 50s and 60s, everything was covered up.
Everything.
Women never came forward with these stories.
They were shamed. It was victim shaming all the way.
And they were worried about their careers,
So,
even in football, football starting to football, professional football
NFL,
sports.
Right?
They're starting to crack down on that now too. They're starting to change.
Exactly.
To a certain extent.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we're going to see a lot of more NFL scandals coming up in the next 2 years.
Huge sports scandals coming up. You're going to see a lot more about that in the NFL,
Way
NBA.
too much domestic abuse, and we're going to see a lot with that. Scandals involving a TV reality show. We're seeing a health crisis, or Linda feels strongly that Keith Richards is going to have a health crisis, or one of the Rolling Stones. We're not sure which one.
It feels like this year it just kept coming in, so I had to say that. And there is a major pop star, very famous pop star, passing this year by drug overdose. There's another celebrity passing by suicide. Unfortunately, we're seeing that this year too. That'll be in the headlines. It feels like that could be a male actor. Young stars and actors, much younger than they should be, going into rehab and overdosing, doing drugs, getting involved in drugs. Princess Kate Middleton, we saw her announcing another pregnancy last year. We said it on 2 or 3 different radio shows, and she did announce a pregnancy. And we're so happy she's going to have a sibling for little George. And I think that's probably going to be her last child. We're not sure, but we think it's just so hard for her to carry a child. She has a terrible morning sickness for months on end. We wish them well, and I think it might be a little bit premature, the birth, but we're seeing a very healthy baby born to Princess Kate Middleton and William. So, did you have any questions? Any questions?
Sound like a school teacher.
I actually did. I remember you were talking before about finding more the prediction about finding more cures for diabetes. So I was just excited about hearing about that, and also about the cancers and the breast cancer, because a while ago, they were having, and like you said, the pharmaceutical companies are like, they're mega millionaires, and they do push for you to take the medication, and it's medication over anything else. So I am encouraged.
Any other protocol,
That's so true, because they make so much money on medication.
Oh,
They're
tripling the cost of just really what used to be cheap drugs. Now they're tripling, quadrupling the cost just out of greed. And these people have to take second and third jobs just to support the drugs their wife needs to be on for a heart problem. It's really, really tragic what's going on. What did you want to know about the breast cancer breakthroughs?
Oh no, I was just encouraged. I just wanted to make that statement that I'm encouraged that that the cure is out there. It's just getting it to bringing it to the table in an affordable package and that kind of thing. But like we said, the pharmaceutical companies are the mega millionaires. That's what's going on. And I also like to. I was watching I think it was Sunday morning today, and they were talking about how the cars, now that we're doing our own oil and everything, and like you were talking about that the oil prices are going down, but I see how they hush the quiet of the, the electric cars, so that the oil tycoons can continue to make their money.
Money.
There you go.
Right. And I'm just happy that now that a lot of people are out there with, the electric cars and everything.
Yes. And you could probably, I think that they have ways that you can literally drive a car with water and with cooking oil and with beer, I don't know.
Cow poop, methane from cow poop.
There's just so many different alternatives now that,
Not the beer,
hopefully will come to the fore. Yeah. Not beer,
That's true.
I wouldn't waste good beer.
Save the beer. No, I would save the beer.
Make it a
So you were talking... You were also talking about up-and-coming things that are up-and-coming for you. Could you repeat a little of that for our listeners as well?
Oh, thank you. Well, we have, a book that we're hoping to come out this year. We are still just finishing that up, and we have people that are interested in doing different projects with us, with film and TV and psychic networks and things like that. So we're talking to some Deep Pockets people, and nothing in definite contract form. We're trying to get a film made. So we really want to put out good things in the universe, because there's, I really feel like we need positive, value-creating film and TV projects.
Absolutely.
And we're looking for really positive, value-creating producers, writers, directors, editors. We really just, we're talking to some real major people. So hold good thoughts, and we wanted to also give a very a heartfelt shout-out to all of our fans and future fanatics on Facebook.
We love you guys.
Yes, we love you guys. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. We love you guys. So we just wanted to. Who does JDate?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe we should. I actually dreamt I had a boyfriend last night. Boy, I think the world is over.
Anyway, positive. You said positive.
Yeah, positive thoughts for us, you guys. And we love you.
We sure do love you guys.
We love you too. You guys have been very busy. I know there's no cat swinging involved in that. Teacher guys have really been busy.
No cat swinging.
Ah, you're funny.
I don't think we'll be swinging a lot of cats this year.
Thank goodness.
Well, thank you so much for coming on our show, and everybody can reach him at psychictwins.com. Yes, it's lovely.
Psychictwins.com.
And I'm totally floored by the predictions. Each year they seem to increase, and each year the amount that comes through increases. It's really your time, and congratulations on a new book, and good luck on TV and films. You deserve it, and we'll all be looking forward to that.
Thank you so very much. Everybody sign up for our newsletter, our free monthly newsletter. This is our 9th year, I think, of publishing Futurescope
for free.
And I can't believe it's been 9 years. It's like 100 issues that we've written and posted.
Oh, by the way, we're columnists, regular monthly columnists for Motivated Magazine, MOTOVADED. That's an online magazine.
It's wonderful.
And it's a wonderful, inspirational, motivational magazine, and we hope everyone checks that out online.
Samantha Stewart, Kayla Khan, wonderful young ladies and very powerful women. Run Motivated, and so everybody check that out.
And make sure you look for our show with Matthew that airs January 15th, Intuitive Transformations Radio.
Is that right before your birthday?
Tomorrow is our birthday, and thank you for everyone who sent it to our
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. We're going out with our good friend Ann to celebrate.
29 forever.
And it's going to be, I think it's going to be an amazing year for all of us. And Really, let's all make it happen. Let's be an example, for what real psychic, intuitive power can be in the world. As Terence McKenna said so beautifully, as the bonfires of knowledge grow brighter, the more the darkness is revealed to our startled eyes. And I think our bonfires are getting so bright, all of us who are doing this great work and this difficult work. As we go lighter, our illuminating light triggers the darkness, the shadow energy, and that is what we're seeing happening around the world. Do not be cowed by it. Do not be afraid of it. It's just an opportunity to step up and own your power. Difficulties can be a source of dynamic growth and positive progress. And we are going to see a year like we've never seen in many good, positive, exciting ways if we really start to take responsibility. Year of empowerment, you guys. If you'll excuse us now, our hovercraft is waiting. And we'll see you in the future.
Okay, we'll see you in the future. Thank you for being on. God bless and enjoy your birthday.
Guys. Thank you.
Have a beautiful birthday.
We love you guys.
Thanks, Cheryl.
We love you too.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
thank you,
lots
honey.
of love,
Linda. Bye-bye.
Lots of love, Cheryl. Bye.
Bye,
Lots
honey.
of love.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody. We went over time a little bit, but you can listen to the whole thing in the archives on my show page on Blog Talk Radio, and it'll also be available for free in Apple iTunes. And if you would like to contact the Psychic Twins, go to psychictwins.com. All their links are up there, including a contact form to contact them, Facebook, Twitter, everything you need to know. They are on Facebook. They have a couple of pages, the Psychic Twins fan page, and Terry Jamison on Facebook as well. You'll see it there. This has been the 5th anniversary edition of Beyond the Gate Radio for Sunday, January 11th, 2015. Our double visionaries, the Psychic Twins, have predicted for 2015 and 16. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on Beyond the Gate Radio. Good night, Sherelle.
Good night, David.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and following. Bye-bye. On November 2, 1999, with 25 years as professional psychic mediums, identical twins, Terry and Linda Jamison, internationally known as the Psychic Twins, have shocked audiences across the world with their eerily accurate predictions, including the events of 9/11, the Boston Marathon terror bombings, Corey Monis' death by drug overdose, JFK Jr.'s death in a small plane, and also Oscar winners. They predicted monster hurricanes Sandy, Isaac, and Irene, the Newton, Connecticut, and Houston school bombings, shootings, the Denver, Colorado Dark Night Massacre, the record flooding of 2012 and 2014, and the deadly tornadoes of 2011 and 2013, as well as the massive earthquakes of 2010. The Psychic Twins are the authors of the world #1 bestseller, Psychic Intelligence by Hatchett, and their autobiography, Separated at Earth, the story of the Psychic Twins, which we've both read a few times because they're amazing books, and they describe their amazing life journey and how they developed their highly unusual work. The Psychic Twins are profiled in the new Hay House bestseller, Conversations with Mediums, so make sure you get that book. We've read that too, and that's very interesting. Terry and Linda have made hundreds of appearances on international TV and radio, including ABC, Nightline, Beyond Belief, The View, Good Morning America, Oprah, The Tyra Show, The Ricky Lake Show, The Insider, The Unexplained, Dr. Keith Abloh, The Other Side from NBC, Saturday Night Live, The Today Show, and Sunrise Australia. They have also starred in 16 documentary films, including Psychic Children, Extreme Twins, True Believers, and Hollywood.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday, January 11th, 2015 edition of Beyond the Gate Radio. This is our special 5th anniversary edition, and we have special guests on to help us celebrate it. This is our 5th year, and this is their 5th show they've been on with us, Terry and Linda Jamison, the world-famous Psychic Twins. I am your host, David Baker, and our co-host today is Sherelle. Good evening, Sherelle. How are you?
Good evening, David. Thank you. I'm doing fine. Let's get to the show.
I'm sure everybody's waiting. They have been for a whole year. And if you do like Beyond the Gate Radio, please press the follow button. We appreciate it. Now, a little bit about our guests. First of all, their website is www.psychictwins.com. That's psychictwins.com, and that's the only official Psychic Twins website. Settle for no others. That's the only real website, psychictwins.com. You can find out everything about them on their website. Terry and Linda Jamison, known internationally as the Psychic Twins, are the world's most documented psychic mediums in history, with an unrivaled track record of over 1,000 accurate world predictions. They are the most famous for the stunning predictions of the 9/11 World Trade Center terrorist attacks, the Pentagon attacks, and the May 2000 stock market crash, all made on Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM radio.
2015 on your show last year, which aired 1/6/14. That was our record show. We had 800 predictions that happened just in the last year since we made that show with you. And so these are going to be sort of in addition to that show, because that is still up on YouTube. It's still up on Blog Talk and your page. And so these are kind of like in addition to
bonus predictions for the coming year.
Coming year, right.
Through 2016, actually.
And we're also doing another show with Matthew Engel, and that airs January 15th. We already taped it on the 7th, and many of those predictions that we taped on the 7th have already happened. So you'll want to tune in to Intuitive Transformations on the 15th with Matthew.
Check our Facebook page for links and to that show, to that podcast. So we're seeing, more extremes coming in 2015. You guys, going to be a dramatic year on many fronts. We're calling 2015 the year of empowerment. The year of empowerment.
And it's going to be a very empowering, passionate, dramatic year on many fronts. Like the last year, resilience is going to be very important, you guys. Everything really must break down, we feel, in order for a rebirth to occur. And, the new cycle will be one of women and people of color and oppressed groups and races stepping into a new place of empowerment, as we have seen in the last year. Unifying towards change. We see more demonstrating and peaceful demonstrations, speaking out, really women and people of color in unprecedented numbers coming out. Now, the terrible series of terror attacks that happened in France this week, we predicted on your show, you guys, last January. And 20 people were killed. And today they had 3.7 million people rallying in all across France, but mostly in Paris. And that's unprecedented. It's never happened before. This is an anti-terror rally, a unity rally.
March for Unity in Paris. I don't know if you saw that. It was absolutely breathtaking.
Wasn't it amazing?
And unparalleled in France, in Paris, and where they have had many big rallies, but this was unquestionably the most amazing, and all the 43 world leaders arm in arm against terrorism, taking back their power. It was just so emotional to watch, and I really feel it was a turning point for France and the entire world. This is the greatest terror threat Europe has ever faced in history. And we've been saying it, isn't it? I mean, we've been saying for a couple of years on your show that that extremist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda would be increasing in power and reach. It was not, by no means was it on the run, was it going away, in spite of the narrative we kept hearing on TV. And we were like, no, it's going to get much worse. And, of course, we've seen the results of that. And now I think everyone is sort of shocked into this awareness that things really have to change. There's no real policy for dealing with radical Islamism in the world.
Yeah, and do you realize that, what, Cheryl?
I was just going to say, do you think sometimes that the TV says it to keep the people calm? Like if they saw the UFO, they try to debunk it so everyone stays calm, so it's not mass hysteria?
I'm not really sure to what extent. That could very well be, but I feel like it's more controlling the narrative and what they want you to believe. And that's why we do our predictions, because the CIA and the FBI missed every major terror attack that we predicted in the new millennium. And so I feel like they're blowing it. The media, the government, the media, they're all, working together to protect their
ghost stories. How exciting to have them back on again. And now, without further ado, they promise to see us in the future, and they haven't lied. This is the future, and they're back. Welcome, Terry and Linda Jamison.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, David Terrell. So happy to be back on the show. Happy anniversary. Happy 5th. So proud of you guys.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Can you believe 5 years already? We've all been doing
believe it.
It's really, it's wonderful. Yeah.
Wow.
We miss you guys.
When did we get so old?
It's wisdom.
Thank you.
That's a nice way of putting it.
I could have retired from this some time ago, but now it's too late to retire, so I have to keep on
going. That's right. I like that. I'll never retire.
I like that. Yeah.
Listen, our dad's 89, and he's still working. He's still painting his watercolors, and can you believe it? Almost 90. He's going strong, and I
got engaged a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we're hoping to emulate that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that is awesome. That is so awesome.
You guys, Thank you. We see a whole new level of intrigue and drama coming for 2015.
Oh, my goodness.
David and Sherelle and all of our wonderful listeners.
We have exciting things to talk about. My goodness. We predicted on last year's show in 2014 that it would be the year of truth revealed, and boy, was it ever.
Oh, brother.
We're still reeling, trying to make sense of the chaos that year was. As you know, Terry and I have been attacked for exposing some pretty inconvenient truths, but truths they are, none the same. This past few years has been such a difficult time for Terry and me personally. We had to take out a restraining order against our spirit guides.
Yes.
So it got that bad.
It was that bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it was a real year of extremes and scandals, just that we said on your show. And David, you know that we already made predictions for